sometimes I'm like really good and I'm spot on. And then sometimes like I start out really good and then I just kind of fizzle. But hey. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Yarn Everywhere podcast. This is episode number 53. It has been probably about 2 months since my last podcast, so I can't wait to dive in and catch you up on all of the things that have been going on over here. In case you are new here, welcome. My name is Nicky Avery. I am the yarn dyer, crocheter, knitter, and creative behind Avery Lynn Creations and ALC Yarns. So I am just going to dive right in and show you what I have been working on and what I have finished, some plans for some items that I want to make coming up, and just all of my yarn adventures. Let's start off with finished items because they are right here. I'm going to start out with some socks that I have finished. These are all just vanilla socks because they are quick, they're mindless, and I just love making them. This is the vanilla sock pattern on Magic Loop by Kay, the CrazySockLady. This colorway is Mind Your Own Tinsel. This was from November 2022's Vintage Christmas ALC Yarn Club. This was one of my favorite colorways from that month because it's speckles. Look at all of that speckle goodness. I just love speckled yarn for socks. So here are those. So I did keep some notes on my socks. I started these on June 10th, but I did not write down when I finished them. That's just part of me taking notes. Sometimes I'm like really good and I'm spot on. And then sometimes like I start out really good and then I just kind of fizzle. But hey, at least I know when I started them. It probably did take me a little while because I really haven't had a whole lot of time to sit and crochet or knit. So when I do, my go-to has kind of been socks, and I just get in a few stitches when I can. The majority of my socks are shorty socks. So I do 10 rounds for the cuff and I only do 5 rounds for the leg. And that's just kind of been my go-to right now. I'm actually about to start some fun socks and I will talk about that later on in this episode. So this is Mind Your Own Tinsel, but wait, there's more. There's a lot more. These are not in any particular order. I'm just grabbing them because there's a pile right here. So this is the next finished pair of socks. And this colorway is from my June Yarn Club box. When I saw this colorway dry, I knew that I had to have it. This is Beach Party, which was named after the theme. And look at these socks. I love the way this colorway worked up. Look at that. So fun. I also changed the cuff a little bit on this one. I did knit one, purl one, and I kind of like it. Look at the difference. It's really stretchy too. So I thought I'd just change things up a bit and do the knit one, purl one cuff. And I took notes on this one too. I'm so proud of myself. So I did write the name of them down wrong though. I wrote down that this was Tropic Like It's Hot, but this colorway is not Tropic Like It's Hot. I think I wanted to keep that one, but I ended up keeping this one instead. So I need to adjust that. But I did, my same 10 rounds for the cuff and 5 rounds for the leg because I just like shorty socks. I started these on June 15th and have no idea when I finished them because there's the Nicky factor in there. I think I just get so excited when I finish socks that I want to cast on more. And I will show you the colorway that I cast on right after I finish these. They're in my whip section and I can't wait for y'all to see them. So let me go to the next finished sock. So here's a little trick. You can put the yarn wrap label in your little sock here so you can remember which colorway it was. This is Let the Good Times Roll, and here's the matching one. I had to steal it off its hanger for another set of socks. I promise I have I have one other thing finished that's not socks to show you. So this is Let the Good Times Roll, and this colorway is one of the 3 colorways from my May Yarn Club box, and May's theme was celebration because Yarn Club turned 3 years old this May, so all of the colorways were about like celebrating and having fun, and I love the way these turned out. So pretty. These were actually knit on DK weight. I love how quickly DK weight socks knit up. I kind of wear these like as slippers in the cooler months because I have stained concrete floors, but I don't really like the way that they feel in a shoe. So I'm really leaning more towards sock weight yarn for socks now, even though I love how quickly DK weight socks knit up. So let's see what my notes say about Let the Good Times Roll socks. I know I started these. This was the first pair that I started for Summer Sock Camp, which is hosted by the CrazySockLady. I know I was out of town because my mom was here and we drove up to Wisconsin to my uncle's for a family get-together. So that was really fun. I think it was like the 26th of May. Let me see. Okay, I did not write it down, but I know it was either the day that Summer Sock Camp started or the day after, because I think I was driving the day it officially started, and it was an adventure. Like, we went through so much construction. I think it ended up taking us 12 hours to get there. And then, you know, when you get there, 1, you're tired. But 2, it's like, oh, my family, I love y'all. And, you know, you want to see everybody, hug everybody and all the things. So I think it was the next afternoon that I actually started these. So, yeah, 26th, 27th, something. And it did not take me very long at all to finish these because I had a lot of downtime where I could just sit and knit and talk to my mom. So I know that these did not take very long at all. So this was the start of Summer Sock Camp socks. So I know I have, what is that? I showed you 2 already. So this is 3 pairs down. Okay, last pair of finished ones. I think these might be my favorite. I am a sucker for blues and teals and speckles. This colorway is Spring Wonders. This was from, I don't remember. I want to say it was April, might have been March's Yarn Club. Can't remember, but I love it. I don't know if you can see it, but there's some pops, yes. Pops of that bright green in there. And I love how each sock is different. Oh, it's hard to hold these up with just one hanger. I do have notes on these. I actually did 10 rounds for the cuff and 10 rounds for the leg. I was just kind of playing around because I lost my original sock journal. I started like this cute little notebook, and it was just a sock journal that fit in my sock project bags where I could have notes on everybody's sizes that I make socks for, colorways that I use, days that I started it, and maybe days that I finished, but it's somewhere. So now I'm just putting everything in my notebook that I try to use whenever I start and finish whips. So I think I couldn't remember exactly what I was doing, so I was playing around. And this was actually the first one on my list. I kind of worked backwards. Anyways, Spring Wonders. And I started these on 5/26 and I finished them on June 10th. I'm also weighing these when I finish, so I know how many grams it takes to make socks with, because I'm all about scrappy projects right now. These socks used up 51 grams of yarn, so about a half a hank of yarn. And you know what? I think that might be why I switched to 5 rounds on the cuff, because I was like, ooh, I wonder if I could get it under like a half a hank of yarn, which taking 10 rounds total off of it probably isn't going to make that big of a difference, but I think that's where my thought process was. All right, so these are all my finished socks, and I just love them so much. These are all gifts, so I can't wait to gift them. I think that's pretty good that I have finished 4 pairs of socks since May 26th. I want to update you real quick on my first knit sweater. It was the comfort sweater that I started back in February of this year. I talked about it, I swear, in like every single podcast episode for the longest time, and then I just haven't even talked about it anymore. One, I haven't podcasted in 2 months, but this is the story. Okay. I got super busy with the wholesale order that I talked about forever, and I literally was out of room in my house, so I haven't even blocked it. I got a message from one of my Yarn Club members on Ravelry the other day, and she was asking for an update on it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am so glad you messaged me, because with everything that was going on, it got put up. So it's been like out of sight, out of mind. Plus, it's like so hot here in Mississippi that you don't even want to think about a sweater. But I'm so glad that she messaged me, because I'm going to get that out. Actually, I already have it out in sight, and I plan on blocking it this weekend. I'm super nervous about blocking it because I know it can make it stretch. So I am going to take my time. I'm going to lay it out and measure it, take really good notes. Then I'm going to block it, and then I'm going to lay it back out and measure it so it doesn't stretch too much. That is my plan. And honestly, I just did not have the brain space or the space in my house to do that when the wholesale order was going on. And then right after I finished all of that, I had family coming. We had our cousin stay with us, and then my mom was here. It's just been a lot going on. And I'm actually thinking about doing a video just talking about my first knit sweater experience, what I'm going to do differently when I make my next one, like kind of like what I wish I would have known, what I enjoyed about it, all of the things. And I'm going to be making another one, so I'll be talking about that later on in the episode. But I did take notes, not really good. Literally, this is my notes. The comfort sweater, the date I started and the day I finished it. Oh, I crack myself up. So I started it on February 12th of this year, and I finished on March 26th, which I think is really fast for my first knit sweater. Especially since I had trouble with the sleeves and had to dye more yarn and all of the stuff. I'm really shocked. Like, I should have no excuse finishing other things, but I think I did dedicate a whole lot of time to that. Anyways, I will get that blocked and talk about that either on the next podcast episode, or I'm going to try to do a video just about that. Quick little update on that. Now on to my next finished item. These are super fun. These are Popsicle Sleeve Cozies. I don't know what to call them, so I'm calling them Popsicle Sleeve Cozies. I'm just going to put everything in there. And this is a new design that I whipped up because a friend of mine, I think this one's upside down, because a friend of mine wanted me to make some for her son. And I'm like, I've actually been wanting to make these for a long time, and I kept talking myself out of it. So I designed the Sunshine Popsicle Sleeve Cozies. Y'all know I'm crazy about the Sunshine stitch. I call it the Sunshine stitch, like I made up a stitch. I just love the stitch combination and the texture. So the pattern will have two options, the close-ended one and the open-ended one. I posted on Facebook a couple of days ago to ask moms. I'm like, hey, which one do you think your kids would like? And it seems like the younger kids like the closed ones. So, you know, they can hold it and it's not going to slip. But it seems like the older kids are going to like the open ones because they can just kind of move it with the popsicle as they eat the popsicle. It's in testing right now. The test closes this weekend. I don't know when it's actually going to go live, but it'll be a free pattern on my blog. I think this one's upside down. But it'll be a free pattern on my blog. Both patterns will be all in one. It'll be a 2-in-1 pattern. So I can't wait to share this with y'all because they are super fun and quick to make. And if you're like me and you have like bins of cotton scraps laying around, they are perfect for busting through those scraps. I plan on using these either for like more of these or scrappy dishcloths or something. So I just kind of collect them. All right, that is it for finished items. Nope, wait, I lied. One more. The Juniper Cowl that I was using Stitching with Yarn's Rockstar colorway for was finished. And I was so excited to gift that to my mom that I forgot to take pictures of it. I'm sorry. It is so pretty and I really want to get pictures of it. So whenever I go out to visit her, I'm going to steal it back from her for a few minutes and get some pictures of it. And maybe I can sweet talk my mom into modeling it for me. We'll see. Let's jump into whips. My first one is in this adorable bag. From Erin Lane Bags, y'all. I love these drawstring bags, and a super sweet friend of mine gifted this to me, and it just brings me so much joy. And I think I say that every podcast, but it does. So this is my sassy triangle cowl that needs blocking. It's kind of sad looking right now. My tension on one side versus the other, it's crazy. Like, look how crooked it is. I even went back and I'm like, okay, did I miss a stitch? Like, what did I do? And so I went back and like double and triple checked and it's like, no, it's just a tension issue. So I need to block this. I believe it's actually finished, but I haven't tried it on. The pattern calls for worsted weight, but I use DK weight because I like to go rogue even on my own patterns. I had this yarn already caked up and I really, really wanted to make a sassy cowl with a tonal and a variegated yarn. And I'm so glad that I did because I think it is so pretty. So I think the only thing is I need to try this on because I used DK weight, and I think what I would have done a little bit differently is repeated this section one more time, like did another V-stitch section before starting this section, because I think I'm going to want it a little bit longer, but I thought about it when I was like right here, and I'm like, I'm not ripping this back. No. But I started this on July 1st because we are doing something super fun in my yarn club this summer. We are doing an ALC Yarn summer make-along where we all are going to make something with ALC yarns, and I'm going to be drawing prizes and things like that. So it's just something that we can all do together as a community and keep in touch, because I know summers can get kind of crazy. And also it'll keep us motivated to like work on projects and things like that. So I'm super excited. I've already drawn names for a few winners and announced that. I got some super fun prizes in. If I remember, I'll show y'all some later in the episode because I'm super, super jealous. I did not get one for me and I should have. Anyways, you know what? I think while I'm yapping, let me just try this on. Ooh, okay. I should have tried this on, like, to make sure this part fit before I finished it, but here we are. Okay. It's smaller. It's not too bad. That's kind of, I like a smaller cowl anyways, so it's not too bad. Now I just need to fasten off and block it. I need to have a block party this weekend. This colorway right here is, what is it called? Sugar Rush. And I just love how it turned out. And then I believe this pink is called Perfectly Pink. So hopefully I will get that blocked this weekend. Next on my list is, this is kind of my go-to project if I'm going to be sitting for a while and I want something kind of mindless. This is in a bag by Barley and Purls. I actually think it's Barley and Pearl, but I'm like the 90-year-old woman that adds an S at the end of things that don't actually have an S on there. But I'll link their shop below in case I said it wrong, but I think it's actually Barley and Pearl. But I'm obsessed with their project bags. I really want another big project bag like this because it's really nice. Look at all that it fits in there. This is a knit shawl by Gotham Knits, and I just love it. And it's a super easy, beginner-friendly pattern. And I'm doing kind of a fade with this. I just added in the last color there. I'm a little nervous about this last color. I'm nervous that it's not going to go with this. Like, it's not going to go how I planned it in my head. But let me just show you what I have so far. Look how long this is. It's definitely going to need blocked because look, it's rolling up over here. I have notes on this one too. So I started this May 18th and I started with the colorway This Is Love. I think this was from January's Yarn Club. And then I did several transition rows. I want to say I did like 3 or 4 where I did 2 rows of the new, 2 rows of the old, because I really wasn't sure how well this would blend together. But look, it is really hard to tell where it's, I mean, if you really look hard, you can see. But I'm really tickled with how well it kind of blended. And so I'm hoping I'm going to be tickled about the next color. This is the next color. I think I'm just overthinking it. The speckles in this, I feel like is going to tie in with these other two. So we'll see. So what I did is I weighed each ball of yarn because it calls for, I want to say, 200 grams of fingering weight yarn. So what I did is I weighed each one of these and then used 70 grams. Like, I went ahead and weighed out 70 grams and cut the rest out and put it in my scrappy bin, because what I really wanted to do was to be able to knit until it was like getting low, and then I could weigh it and start my transition rows, and I would kind of know how much yarn I was using and not end up using like a whole 100 gram and then be like, uh-oh, because I did that with my first knit shawl. And it turned out massive. It's beautiful, but it turned out massive. And then I didn't have enough yarn left at the end to do the border. So I did this one a little bit differently. Like, I was very intentional. And I'm really glad that I did, because I feel like I won't have any surprises with this one. So this is the Laelia shawl by Gotham Knits, and I cannot wait to finish it. Are you ready to see some more socks? Because if you had some doubts there for a minute that I didn't have any sock whips, I won't leave you in suspense. This is the Canadian Sky colorway. I finally remembered to claim one for myself, and I am so happy with how it turned out. And I've already started another one. And I'm using 9-inch circulars for this one. Yes, we've become friends. I had to figure out what works for me. And I do everything. I start out with magic loop. I do the heel with magic loop. I do most of the decreases. And then when I get to like straight knitting, I do the circulars because that's what's easier for my hands. If I try to do all of this part with the circulars, I end up with hand cramps because I'm still trying to grip these too hard. But I've noticed that if I'm just straight knitting, I'm not holding them so tightly. That is what has been working for me, and I really do like the 9-inch circulars because I feel like I can finish socks a lot faster. So if you have been on the fence about trying them, maybe you could try my little method of magic loop until all the decreases are done, and then I switch to these. And then once I start my toe decreases, I switch back to magic loop. This has been what I've been working on whenever we get in the pool. And let me tell you, it is so much fun to sit on my floaty and knit. My husband got a kick out of it when I was first trying to figure out how I could knit in the pool without like dropping everything in the water. So it's been kind of fun, but I finally have found everything I need. Just use one of these little plastic shoebox containers and I put everything in here, and then I have like a little old towel that I can like dry my hands with, and these float. So I just have this like kind of in my lap but on the water, and it just stays with me. So if you've been wanting to try your hand at knitting or crocheting in the pool, you can do it. It's a lot of fun. It's so relaxing too. So that was Canadian Sky. And again, that's just vanilla socks because that's my go-to right now. And if you're like me and you're obsessed with this colorway, so about that, whoops. I didn't actually weave in the ends when I Kitchener stitched the toe, and it just had to come out right then at that moment to tell on me. So I got busted. Anyways, let's switch to this side. Okay, let's just... If you are obsessed with this colorway like I am, I have 2 sock sets left in the yarn shop, and I need you to save me from myself. And I will show, if I remember, I'll show those later on in the episode when we get to yarn news. And this is a new project bag from Barley and Purl. So maybe Barley and Purl. I have their business card in here. It is Barley and Purls. Okay, yay. So, new project bag from Barley and Purls. And this is my first one that has snaps instead of a zipper. And y'all, game changer. I will forever be ordering these sock project bags with the snaps. I was kind of worried because I'm like, oh, what if stuff falls out? But let me tell you, these snaps understood the assignment. Look, I mean, you really cannot make, I mean, something might fall out, but I doubt it, especially as much stuff as I jam in there. But look, if you just kind of squeeze it shut, it really does close it good. And I mean, they're not hard to open, but it's not gonna like unsnap by itself. You gotta put some oomph into it. I cannot recommend these sock project bags enough. They are my favorite. I want like one of all of them. They're just really well made, and I love the fabrics that she uses, and she pairs the colors so nicely too. So I wanted to show y'all that because it has been so long since I podcasted. I don't remember what I got in. So as I was thinking of it, I wanted to go ahead and tell you about that. I have one more pair of sock whips. These are my yarnable socks, and I have one finished. This one's been finished for a while. I started this before summer sock camp. When summer sock camp started, I kind of just put this to the side because I wanted to see how many that I could knit the entire summer sock camp. And I don't think these count because I started these way before. So that's why I only have the cuff done on the second one. I will pick these back up after summer sock camp is done. I think it's at the end of August. Last one, and I really haven't done a whole lot on this one, even though it's one of my favorite projects. So this is my scrappy granny stripe blanket. It's probably gonna get crinkly here. This is where I was last time I podcasted. So I've done, what, 1, 2, 3 rows? Barely 3 rows. This is where I finished. I really do enjoy this project, and let's see if I can show you how big it is. I'm hoping that I can finish this before fall. That might be a big hope, but I would love to cozy up under this winter. But if not, I feel like it's big enough that I can kind of cozy up with it as I work on it. It's just one of those things that I'm really enjoying the process, but I'm also being a tad picky with it. I don't really want more than 2 or 3 rows of the same color. So I've kind of worked through the majority of my worsted weight yarn scraps, which is crazy because I had a whole lot. But I use so much sock weight yarn now and DK weight yarn now that I need to make some more worsted weight projects so I can replenish my stash. My sassy triangle cowl was going to kind of be one of those 2 birds, 1 stone thing where I could start a make for the ALC summer make along and also create some worsted weight scraps in the process. But I went rogue and decided to use DK weight, and I didn't think about it till I was halfway finished, and I'm like, why did I do that? But I have a plan, so I will talk about that here next. Well, that is a wrap for all of my works in progress, at least the ones that I remember and the ones that I'm claiming right now. The next thing I want to share with you are all of my planned projects. I'm really trying to get organized and plan out my next projects because I'm about to start a big project and I want to get it done kind of quickly because it's for somebody and it's super special. So let me just tell you about this one first because I can hardly contain my excitement. While my mom was here, and I think I talked about this in the last episode, while my mom was here, I was planning on dyeing yarn with her because we have so much fun dyeing yarn, but also I wanted her to dye her own yarn for a sweater that I'm gonna make her. So she picked out the colors and dyed the yarn, and this is the colorway. Look at this gorgeousness. So my mom likes to speckle too. I love it. It just makes me so happy that she enjoys speckling. So I'm trying to like rustle all of this. Let me see if I can just show you all this goodness. Isn't that so pretty? Lesson learned from my knit sweater. I went ahead and dyed way more than I think I will even need for her sweater because I think she's going to be a medium or a small. I need to look at the pattern. Didn't she do awesome, y'all? And I was trying to think of like a name for this colorway, but I'm literally just calling it Mom's Sweater. And I think I might have taken notes. I can't remember. I don't know if I'm going to try to recreate it or not, but I love it. So this is Mom's Sweater yarn. And the sweater that I'm going to be making her is the Weekend Sweater by Darling Jadore. You may recognize that name because the comfort sweater that I knit for myself, she also designed that one. And I really liked the way that her pattern was written, and she had links to video tutorials in that. And as I still call myself a beginner knitter, and I think I've been knitting 2 years now. I just like that security blanket of having videos, and I liked the way that she wrote her patterns because I feel like I kind of had some like someone holding my hand. I have a couple of other knit sweaters that I've purchased that I want to make, but I feel like their patterns are geared more towards like advanced, or, you know, somebody who's been knitting a while. I'm the person that I need more words. Words are comfort to me. Like I need, you know, all the just like K, this many, like I like that, but sometimes I need more detail. So I really like that. I wanted to knit some type of summer tee this summer, and I bought 2 patterns, and my brain just, I don't know. I just was like, I'm not understanding. So, and it's nothing against the designers at all. It's just a me thing. I just have to find the style that works for my brain. That is a planned project. And now that I've shown it off, I am going to go ahead and start caking up that yarn because I really want to start that soon. The next project that I want to start, and that I've already started and frogged 3 times. 3 times. But a lot of it's a me thing because I'm doing it in the evenings when my brain is tired. And I also thought, okay, let me back up. The pattern that I want to start is Heel Toe Dosey Do sock pattern by Kay from the CrazySockLady. A lot of the reasons I don't do pattern socks is, one, I do a lot of shorty socks. And I feel like it's kind of a waste because I have a 5-round leg for the shorty socks, so it's just like, why? And I have the pattern memorized. I can just knit and relax, but I kind of want to get out of my comfort zone, and I really liked that pattern, so I'm going to give it a try. I decided that I was going to try starting these with 9-inch circulars, and y'all, I got like 3 rounds on the cuff, and I'm like, this is too easy. This is too easy. I've got to be doing something wrong. And I'm like, man, I should have been using 9-inch circulars the whole time. This is easy. And I'm like, but it's like, this is easy. What did I do? And then I realized that I wasn't working in the round. I was working in rows. I'm like, what? I never connected the first round. And then, so I get on YouTube and I look at the CrazySockLady's video tutorial for using 9-inch circulars. Y'all, I was doing it backwards. Straight backwards. And for any of y'all that don't talk Nicky or Southern, that's backwards. I was trying to hold the yarn like I was doing magic loop, and the working yarn is on the opposite side for 9-inch circulars. So that's why it was so easy, because I wasn't actually joined and it just wasn't doing it properly. That was the first try. And then I'm like, I'm going back to straight just magic loop. That's where my comfort zone is. And I don't remember what happened the second time, but the third time was last night, and I knew better because my assistant came yesterday, and y'all, we worked for 5 hours nonstop, and we got stuff done that I've been wanting to do for months. So we got that done. We got my yarn club. Like, my yarn club is so close to being ready to ship out. She helped me get everything we could get done yesterday. We got that done. So my brain was just gone by the time she left. I started yesterday and I got a good ways, but I confused myself. And I think it's because there's really no beginning of round. And I think I made it more complicated than what it is. So, frogged it. I'm hoping to start these this weekend because I really want to give it a go. And look at this gorgeous yarn. It is Rooting for You by Stitching with Yarn. I love her colorways. Y'all check her out. That is one of my planned projects. Both of those I want to start like yesterday. The next project, oh my goodness, y'all. I lost my mind when I saw this. So Kim by 3 by the Sea Designs has been getting my Yarn Club package for a while now, and she's been saving the yarn for a project, and she finally picked out a project, and she tagged me in her stories on Instagram, and I almost lost my mind. And she showed in her podcast. I will link those below so you can check out her podcast, but it is gorgeous. And when I saw it, I literally was running around in my yarn room, and then in my guest bedroom, I also store yarn in there. And I was trying to find all the DK weight yarn that I could find so I could make this, because I want to make one too. I literally have extra Yarn Club packages from September of last year. So I was going through all of those and any yarn that was in the shop that was DK weight to try to see if I could pair them together. And I will post pictures here of all that I found, and I completely overwhelmed myself. I posted the pictures in my Yarn Club. I was like, oh my goodness, y'all, help me decide which colors to pair together because I've got to start this project. I'm obsessed. I want one. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. And it was like, okay, I'm like mixing colors. I'm looking at everybody's comments. Finally, I'm like, okay, I need to set this aside for a minute and really think about it, because I don't want to just put a bunch of colors together and then not be happy with it, because it's going to take a while to make, especially all the other things I have going on. I think what I'm going to do is pick 1 or 2 of those colorways, maybe 3, because I think I need 6 total. I think I'm going to pick 3 of them that complement each other, and then I think I'm going to dye 3 tonals that will go with it. And I think that's going to help me not be overwhelmed with the project. So that's kind of my plan. Still thinking about that, but I really want to start my mom's sweater before I start another selfish make. This is what I want to make for me, y'all. I don't even know how to say that, but I think it's Gofleidio. The cool thing is I was reading about it and they said it is a Welsh word for cuddles. Well, y'all, I am obsessed with everything Welsh because I have family over there, and several years ago, I was able to go with some of my aunts and uncles and cousins that live here in the States and go meet and visit with our UK family. So that was like once in a lifetime experience. It was so much fun, and I just fell in love with all of them. Wales was my absolute favorite place, and we were only there like a day. I just absolutely loved it. So I love all things Welsh, so this is just perfect. That is another planned project. Next one is actually another kind of quick-ish make, and that's not the bag. Next one is a pretty quick make. I've already caked up the yarn, and it's in a project bag, so that means it's gonna happen, right? I have 2 worsted weight hanks of yarn here, so I'm going to be using the scraps in my granny stripe blanket. And I think this one is like a random tonal-ish that I dyed, and I think I called it Barbie, and I had to have one for me. It's really hard to see. It's pink. It is pink, and I love it. And this color is Irresistible from March 2023's, I think it is Floral Bouquet Yarn Club. And I don't know if you can see it, but there are just pops of this color in there. And I think it's going to be so pretty. Now that I've like shown the yarn and all the things, let me tell you what I'm making. It is the Winterscape beanie from a Knotty Habit Designs. And this is the one I made last year. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love the texture. I usually don't like brims like this. No, I think they're pretty. I just don't like making brims like this. I like to use like front post double crochets and alternate it, because you don't have to work in rows and then find your stitches here. But this is just so pretty, like that texture, and then here, and then that pop of texture there. It's perfect for color work. and it works up so fast. So this is one of my favorite beanie patterns to use, especially if I have 2 hanks of yarn. So this is what I'm going to be making with this. And I think it's going to be so pretty. Ideally, I would like to start this like tonight or this weekend, but we'll see. I've got to go adult today. I've got to go to town, and I have like all these places I need to go, and I need to go grocery shopping, and I really don't want to because it is hot, and I really don't like grocery shopping, but I've got a lot of adulting to do, and we have some things we have to do tomorrow, so I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to do all of that, but I feel like if I have a plan, when I do have time, I can just sit and work on something and not have to be like, I wonder what I'm gonna do. Oh, I'm just gonna knit socks. Even though I love doing that, I really wanna get some other projects done. Last planned project, and then we're moving on. I'm going to be using some Bernat baby blanket yarn. This is my favorite yarn to use for blankets. I have kind of gotten out of the blanket phase. I used to make a ton of baby blankets and a ton of throw blankets with this bulky weight yarn because I love how soft it is. And yes, blankets take a while, but if you use bulky weight yarn, it just doesn't take quite as long. So this is the color I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be making a baby blanket for a lady that goes to our church that found out she was pregnant a couple months ago, so we will be giving her a baby shower soon. And I don't know this for a fact, but it's just one of those things where you just, I guess I'm assuming. I can sugarcoat it all day long, but I'm assuming. I think I heard a couple of people like talk, and it was more like what they didn't say. I think she had trouble conceiving, and anybody that goes through that is near and dear to my heart because it's not something I talk about publicly, but it's something that I have dealt with. My husband and I have been married 10 years this year. You know, we wanted to have a baby. We wanted to do the whole thing. You know, you get married, you're married for a year or two, and then you pop out a bunch of kids. Like I always wanted like a bunch of kids. The older I got, I'm like, okay, I would just like to have 2. And now I'm just like, okay, if I could just have 1, I'd be happy with that. 2 would just be like, I'd be over the moon. But now it's just like, okay, I just want 1 baby. So, sorry. Wasn't planning on that. Sorry about that. As somebody that has struggled with infertility, when I hear that somebody was successful, it just makes me so happy for them. And I feel like any mama that is pregnant needs to be loved on and spoiled. But I feel like somebody that has like struggled to get to that point, they need it even more. Like they should be treated like a princess. I can't wait to make a baby blanket for them. I just hope that it just brings them so much joy. So this will be a fun project that I honestly need to get started on really soon because I think the baby shower is going to be like the second weekend of September. And the way that this year's going, that's going to be here like in a hot minute. That is all of my projects that I finished and projects that I'm working on and my planned projects. So the next thing I want to share with you is the Twice Sheared Sheep Summer Surprise Box that I was so honored to be the yarn dyer for. I really want to do a separate unboxing video for this, but honestly, y'all, I just have not had time. So I'm going to do an unboxing really quick in case I can't get to the other unboxing. Y'all have heard me talk about this big wholesale order for months now, and so I really want to just show y'all real quick the summer fun that Twice Sheared Sheep had for anybody that bought the box. They have a card here in the box that tells everything. So I'm just going to start with number 1. It was a flamingo pink stainless steel cup. And how cute is that? It says mine. And it comes with a straw and a straw cleaner. So that's handy. Next on the list is ALC Yarns. This is Crushing on Summertime, and this is the colorway that I dyed for them. Look at that hot pink. And the speckles. Y'all, I almost broke my specklers with all this yarn. Like literally, I would have to pause speckling because I use my whole hand. Like, I use my whole body when I speckle. I had to like pause and like massage my thumb. Like, oh, you can do this, girl. You could do this. Just don't give up on me. We can do this. Oh my goodness. So I have a really strong thumb. I bet I would win some thumb wars now. So this is the yarn colorway that I dyed for them. I mean, it just screams summertime. It was a fun and challenging experience to dye 750 skeins of yarn when this project consumed my life for months. Like, I had yarn piled in my living room. At one point, there was like a little hallway when you walked in my house. You had to walk by racks of yarn to come in. So it was really interesting. It was so much fun, and I'm so thankful that they asked me to do that for them. The next one, y'all, part of the reason why I want to go ahead and take some time to do the unboxing is because I want to use all this stuff. And I know if I take it all out, I will never remember where it's all at, so I've got to do an unboxing so I can use it. The next item are these gorgeous sock blockers. Look at that purple with the glitter. Oh, I just love them. They're so pretty. So I can't wait to use these. And then, oh yeah, you already know how much I love this if you've watched the last couple episodes. Yep. The sock ruler slap bracelet, and they have upped their game on these sock rulers. There's a regular ruler on the back now. What? Yeah. So I think this is the 4th one that I have now. I have 2 of the original, which is just the sock ruler, and there's, I think, just directions on the back. And then when they came out with the new colors, I got the light pink one, and now I have the dark pink one. Love it. Next on the list are these super handy circle row counters. These are really handy for counting rows. This is what I love about their products. It helps you not have to think so much about your project, so you can just enjoy the process more. And as a process crocheter, process knitter, these are my jam. So love these. Y'all, this next item, I don't know how many of these I own. A lot. They are the increase, decrease stitch markers. Again, they make you not have to think about what you were doing. Before, like when I was knitting socks, that was one of the biggest struggles I had when I first started knitting socks, is I could not remember if I had just done a decrease row or not, and I was still learning to kind of recognize my stitches. So it was like I was spending more time trying to figure out which row I was on than actually knitting. So these are a game changer. Also, I loved these for the muscle burr hat that I made. I was super tickled to get more of these. I think this is like pair 7 or 8 that I have. I have a problem, but yeah, they're cute. Look at the palm tree and the flamingo. Okay, so I'm supposed to be doing this fast, but here we are. The next item are these super cute stitch markers. I just think they're adorable. It's like a little sundae here and a watermelon. I think those are cats. I should have looked closer. The next item, again, these are some of my new favorite things. They're the cable locks. And I love these for like knit shawls. I can put these at the end and scrunch all my stitches up and then just knit. And I don't have to constantly be shuffling my stitches. So I love these for that. And I also like to use them as needle stoppers, so my work doesn't fall off my needles. I'm super tickled to have another pair of these. I think I have 3 pair now. And I just placed a twice sheared sheep order for some giveaway items for the make-along that I'm doing. And I'm kicking myself because I didn't order more of these. But really, I don't think I need that many more of these. But it's just, I like them so much. I want options. Cannot recommend these more. The last item are these handy dandy little tins. I don't know if you can see that. This is a flamingo. And I love these because they just slide open and they have so much room in them. I probably have one of these in almost every project bag that I have, or at least I start out with that when I'm organized and then they end up on my side table. But that's all the goodies that was in the summer surprise box. I am just so tickled that they reached out and asked me to do that, and it made me like jump headfirst out of my comfort zone. But it was such an amazing experience, and I really learned a lot from it. Normally, I have a segment on here for like new items that I got in, but yeah, I can't contain myself, and they're just kind of all scattered. That is one of them, and I showed y'all earlier the new project bag that I got. So we're just gonna kind of skip this section because it's been 2 months and I don't remember. Sorry. Let me jump into yarn news. I teased earlier about Canadian Sky sock set, so I want to show you that real quick. I have this one in stock with 2 minis. I think this green is going to be so pretty. I love the look of knit socks with a contrast heel, toes, and cuff. I just forget. When because I'm so used to just going that I rarely do it. But when I remember or when I see other people's, I love them. I think they're so pretty. Or even if you wanted to do some stripes, like I think this would be really pretty as like striped socks too. So I have one Canadian Sky sock set in the shop, and I have a few of these confetti chaos sock sets in the shop too. These are super fun. I love speckled yarn for socks, so I think these would make absolute gorgeous socks. I'm gonna need you to save me for myself and claim those so I don't. I do have another Canadian Sky sock set, but this is in a new section of my shop called Kits. I have a lot of extra goodies that were left over from previous Yarn Club boxes or just extras that I bought for giveaways or my advent calendars from last year. So I went through and paired yarn with a lot of these extras and made some kits, and they are super fun. So this is in the kit section, and it comes with this really pretty stitch marker from the Hooking Reader. Pictures don't do this justice. It's like different shades of purple. It makes me think of stained glass, and it's really pretty. So I thought this would go really well with Canadian Sky. So this is in the kit section, and there's also Canadian Sky on DK weight, and it also comes with the same stitch marker. There are so many kits in the kit section of the yarn shop. I won't go through all of them on here, but I want to show you one real quick because it's so cute. My favorite season is fall. I just love all things fall, and it's about the only time that I'm going to dye yarn that's brown. So this sunflower flannel, there's several of these kits that have sunflower flannel, but I think this one's adorable. It comes with a sticker that says, "Little Miss, I love fall." How cute is that? With the pumpkin spice latte or whatever it's called. I actually never tried it. And the cute little boots. And then this gorgeous sunflower stitch marker from She Inspired Designs. So I think this is a really cute, fun little kit. My idea behind the kits was to get yarn and then like an extra little something to just feel extra spoiled. So I will link that below if you want to check out the new kit section of the shop. And if you put podcast in the notes section of your order, I will throw in a fun free gift for you. I'm also working on more kits for the shop because I have a bunch of these gorgeous handmade faux fur pom-poms. Like, look at the floofiness of this. Like, look how huge that is. And this one. This one's going to be hard to part with. Look at that. Look at that gorgeousness. I am going through and pairing some yarns with a pom-pom for beanie kits. I'm not going to have a pattern included because I want you to be able to pick your own pattern. But if you need pattern suggestions, I'm happy to help. But this is a one-of-a-kind set. I did pre-orders for this colorway. This is one of the samples I dyed up for Twice Sheared Sheep, and they ended up not picking this, but they bought all the samples to offer to people that purchased boxes. So they asked me if I would set up made-to-order listings for all the sample yarns plus the yarn that I dyed in their box. All of those orders have been dyed and shipped off, but I had some extras and I dyed this one of a kind colorway with the powder that was left on my glove from Speckles from this colorway. So is that not gorgeous? I think this would make a beautiful hat. Kind of like the Winterscape hat that I showed you earlier, or just like do the brim with this color and then the body with this color of any hat pattern that you like. But I thought this was gorgeous. This is a worsted weight yarn set. This is a one-of-a-kind set. And I don't know which pom-pom to pair with it. I'm really leaning towards this. I think it's gorgeous, but I also like the softness of this one. I'll post pictures so you can see them together and let me know which one would you pick. Would you pick the dark one with the black, or would you pick the softer one? I have several of these sets coming. I've just got to get pictures. I've got some yarn that is drying to pair with a few of these. So then I'm going to get pictures and get those listed. So those will be coming soon. Also, this set, this was in my personal yarn stash. And I saw it the other day and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at that. Love the happy little accidents when yarn you already have dyed matches yarn that you already have dyed. Because if I like tried to do this, I would not have nailed it. So I think this will be another gorgeous hat. And I think I just have, well, I have two options. I think black, of course. Black would be gorgeous. But I saw this one. Look at that. It has hints of this color in it. I don't know if you can even see it. I really like kind of stretching the boundaries of pairing colors, but I know some people like playing it safe and they like matchy-matchy. So I think if it was me, I would pick this one. But I mean, you can't go wrong with black either. So these are just a few sneak peeks of the beanie kits that I'm going to have coming soon. I'm hoping next week, but I am getting ready to ship out all of my Yarn Club packages. So that is going to take priority before I get to play around with other yarn. Also, I mentioned earlier that I had Yarn Club extras dating all the way back to September of 2022. I really wanted to do unboxing videos for them, and then they just started piling up. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, this is getting overwhelming. So then I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go back a couple of months, and life just got crazy. So I've decided that if I can do unboxing videos, I will. If not, maybe I can start fresh and start doing them again, but going back and doing previous ones just seemed super overwhelming. So when my assistant was here yesterday, she worked on a lot of my Yarn Club stuff, and I went through and took pictures and inventoried all of my extras, and then we put them in bags. So everything is pictured and inventoried. I just need to add them to my website. So if you've been missing out on the Yarn Club boxes, I have a bunch that are coming to the shop soon, and I can't wait for y'all to see them. The last thing in yarn news, and I'm super excited to announce this, I will be doing advent calendars again this year. The listings just went live the other day. I think it was on Wednesday. I'm super excited to be offering them this year. I'll post a picture here of all the yarn from last year. So the people that bought them absolutely love them, and they've been asking since the beginning of this year, like, hey, are you going to do them again? And I've overthought it for months, and finally a couple months ago I did say that I would be doing them again, but I had to just wrap my brain around it. I had some decisions to make. I do mine a little differently. I do 50 gram not so minis because it's so much easier for me to only have to do 12. Plus, you get a lot of yarn. I feel like you have more project options with the 50 grams versus the 20. What a lot of people did last year was open them every other day, and that was fun. And then I did have some people that just like opened it all at once. And then some people waited until like the 12 days right before Christmas and opened it then. So however you want to put your own spin on it and make it fun, it really was such a joy to see everybody's excitement and also to see what people were making with them. Here are a few of the colorways from last year. They're just one of a kind colorways. Last year I had a theme and it was stained glass. And I ended up making a Juniper Cowl with these two colorways. I loved these two colorways so much that last minute I threw sock weight, like a hank of sock weight yarn in on this colorway and a hank in on this colorway so I could make something. And I'm so glad that I did because I made a Juniper Cowl for my mother-in-law. I'll post a picture and it's gorgeous. So these two I think were my favorite. This was reminiscent and this was cascading colors and it was speckles. So these are just a peek at some of the colorways from last year's stained glass. This year, I really don't have a theme. My plan is to layer the colors. These are my absolute favorite colorways that I come up with. I start with like a really pretty light base color, then I'll speckle or finger paint or just do a mixture of different techniques. So you get all of these layers of colors and it's so gorgeous. The thing about those colorways is they can't be recreated and they end up being my favorite. It will definitely be a yarn adventure and the colorways are all going to be one of a kinds. There will be some extra goodies sprinkled throughout. I already have like the big extra goodie planned. I did cap these orders because I'm only one person. This is the thing. I want to make everybody happy and I don't want to disappoint anybody. So in order to do that, I do have to limit the amount of orders because I don't ever want to take on more than what I can handle and then let somebody down. I don't want my orders to go out late. So I am capping these. There are a limited amount. So I just wanted to tell you. So that's part of the reason why I told my Yarn Club members, and I'm telling you first, just to give you, a head start. And you can order it on worsted weight, DK weight, and sock weight. I will post a link below to the listing so you can check them out. Last part is something new. So I put up an Ask Me Anything box in my Instagram stories the other day. I thought it was fun because it's always really interesting what people ask. I had several questions, so I'm just gonna go through them real quick. Somebody asked how long I've been crocheting. This is a really good question. I think I started either in 2015 or 2016, and my first project was a baby blanket for a girl that I worked with, and I know her little girl was born in May of 2016, and I think I had her baby shower in like February or March. It was somewhere in there where, I could make a whole baby blanket, frog the entire thing, and make it again. That happened. So I'm thinking it was late 2015, early 2016. Sorry, that's a really long answer. But let's math it. What year is this? So 7 or 8 years, maybe? So it's been about 7 or 8 years, maybe? Final answer? Yeah. Okay, the other one is, do I have any other hobbies? Is there anything else besides yarn? Just kidding. So I used to be a big reader. I loved reading books. I started that in like high school and literally like, oh my gosh, I remember we would go out to the lake in the summertime and everybody would be fishing and I would wrap my finger around my line and have a book in my hand. So that way I didn't have to watch my pole. And if I got a little tug, I just put my book down and, catch a fish or whatever. But I read all the time. Loved reading. Actually, I think it was before high school. It was right before high school. But anyways, loved reading. And then crocheting just kind of took over and I didn't do that anymore. I also used to love to refinish furniture and build furniture. I love building things. Power tools, they're so fun. But again, I started crocheting and my business before, my crochet business, was a like refinishing furniture. I faux finished a lot of like the doors and like a fireplace and a barn door in my old boss's house when he was building his house. That was really fun. So I loved painting and, building things, refinishing furniture. And then I started crocheting, and I had a lot of pieces. Literally, I say that I had a garage full of pieces that, I saw the potential, and then I started crocheting, and I'm just like, My husband is probably really glad that even though yarn has overtaken our house, I think he is glad that it's not furniture, because I'll never forget one day he come home from work and I had moved the furniture in our living room because I had this massive buffet table that somebody had commissioned me to paint for them, to refinish for them. And it's too hot and humid outside in Mississippi. So I'm like, I got room in my living room. So I just moved everything and had a drop cloth down. And my husband comes home from work, and here I am. He was like, hi. I was like, oh, hey, about this. He's like, oh my gosh. And when we first got married, he had a 2-door Jeep. So it was really interesting when I would find pieces of furniture. It was like Tetris, but like furniture in Jeep style. You would not believe the furniture that I was able to fit in that Jeep. It was really interesting. So I think he's kind of glad that I'm no longer doing furniture, because we had furniture everywhere and paint everywhere. And yeah, I really don't have a whole lot of other hobbies now that I crochet, knit, and dye yarn. I do enjoy going hunting with my husband in the winter. When we first met, he was a bow hunter, and he taught me how to shoot a bow. So I have a bow. I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. I loved the challenge. And I used to be like, pretty good with my bow and arrow. Like, we actually we're kind of competitive. Was, trying to outdo him. And, my story is that I got better than him, and he'd been doing it longer, but his story is that he's better, which is probably the truth now. But anyway, so that was really fun. I still go hunting with him in some of the winter months. It's just something we do. He actually proposed to me at his hunting stand when we were dating. It's a really cute story. I have to tell it sometime. It's a really cute story, but this is already a really long podcast, so I'm sure y'all are just like, hush, Nikki, hush. I do have some other hobbies. I just don't do them as much as crocheting and all that. I still like to read, but it's more audible books when I remember. The next question was favorite thing to crochet. This changes. When I first started crocheting, it was beanies. Loved making beanies. Like, I made so many beanies. I would say now my favorite thing to crochet would be cowls and shawls and like wraps, which is really crazy because I used to be like a one hank wonder girl, like anything I could make with like one hank of yarn. And now it's like, I want like 3 or 4 hanks of yarn. So I think I would say shawls and cowls. Final answer. Scarves. I like scarves too. See, it's so hard. Okay. Somebody asked how many cats I have. I have 2 cats. They just have really big personalities. I have Gray Baby. He is like a gray, and he's several shades of gray. He's got a little bit of white. He's got a personality on him. And then I have Buttons, who has another like wonderful personality. He's my cuddler. Like, he's the lover of the 2. So I have 2 cats, 2 boys, and I think they're about 8 now. Best tip for crocheters wanting to learn to knit. I think my best tip would be to pick a simple project. I'm a little different. I always say to start out, even like if you're learning to crochet, I always say to start out with bulky weight yarn because it's easier to hold. I recommend just getting some cheap like clover bamboo needles. The reason why is because the wood needles, they have more grab to them. So you have to go slower, and your stitches aren't going to just slide off your needles before you're ready for them to. So you have to work to get your stitches to slide off your needles, which helps you learn the motion and get the muscle memory. So I would highly recommend chunky yarn and doing a chunky beanie. She used to be bee hooked crochet, but now I think she's like bee hooked crochet and knitting. She has a super easy step-by-step beginner knit beanie, chunky beanie tutorial. And that is how I learned how to knit beanies. So that is what I would recommend. Or if you're like, I don't want to make a beanie, pick a project. Pick a project that you want to make and learn exactly what you need to make that project. Don't worry about what you don't know. Just jump in and learn exactly what you need to complete that project and then go on. I would pick a smaller project. I would do like a dishcloth, a beanie, something like that. I definitely wouldn't start with a shawl. And I would not start with socks until you know how to knit and purl, just because you do some weird things in socks that you don't do anywhere else. So that's my little 2 cents there. I still consider myself a beginner knitter, but if you have any questions, I would be happy to try to help you. And I know some awesome knitters that are helpful, or I probably have video tutorials that I've watched. So I'm just dangerous enough to probably help you or point you in the direction to somebody that can help you. Don't hesitate to ask questions. That's the other thing I think I would say is ask questions. Find some knitting friends, get in some knitting Facebook groups, and don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't hesitate to reach out to the designer and say, hey, I'm confused about this. Can you help me? Those are my tips. All right, last one. What is my favorite shawl or wrap pattern? I don't know if this is knit or crochet, but I would say knit would be the Copland shawl. I know I've made 2 now, if not 3. I can't remember. I love it. There is a video tutorial on YouTube. I love it. If you look back at a couple of podcasts ago, I'm pretty sure I finished one and I have a link there. Or if you look at my playlist and I think it says beginner knit patterns, I have it in playlist. I also like the Laelia knit shawl that I'm working on now. I definitely would be making more of these. It's super simple, and that's by Gotham Knits. The Copland shawl is by Expression Fiber Arts. If you wanted a crochet shawl or wrap pattern, I've actually only made my pattern. I just wasn't into shawls and wraps until I started knitting. So I have a sassy wrap pattern that I really like. And if you wanted to like adjust it to make like a longer one or a thinner one to make a shawl, you could do that. I feel bad just recommending mine, but I don't think I've made anybody else's. I don't think I have crocheted another wrap or a shawl. But I do know my friend Danielle at a Knotty Habit Designs. I love every pattern of hers that I've ever made, so you could check out her. Off the top of my head, SEK Handmade. She has some amazing patterns. I've never made one. She's super sweet and talented. And Toni Lipsey, TLYarncrafts. I've made a few of her cowls. And I'm pretty sure she has some shawls and wraps too. So that's who I would recommend. Just off the top of my head, those are the designers that I would look at. So, and hey, if you're a knitter or a crocheter and you have some go-to patterns, share them in the comments. I would love to find some more to make, and whoever asked that question I can't remember, I'm sorry, I should have wrote down who asked, but they may check out the comments and find some goodies in there too. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I know this was a super long one. I have missed y'all. I hope that you enjoyed it. And until next time, happy yarning. Bye for now.